Suddenly, the only thing that I could focus on was Musette. I even stopped going to classes in order to meet with Ellen in the library where we could talk about our theories without worrying about who might be eavesdropping on us. Okay, so this is what I heard from some seniors. Ellen begins. Once there was a snake girl who was dating Damien and got into a catfight with a bunch of butterflies over him, and it led to the snake girl being expelled. Expelled? I asked blankly. Not brutally murdered? Expelled, Ellen confirms with a quick nod. I also asked another girl who used to be our senior hall monitor, Isabel. She said that she remembered Musette. She said Musette didn't fit in, and so she quit school and went home. I just shake my head. No way. From what we know of Musette, that just doesn't seem like something she would do at all. No, it doesn't, Ellen agrees, but it doesn't sound like anyone thinks she's dead. She's staring at me now, and I shake my head to indicate that I don't understand. You don't think Damien killed her, do you? I mean, I don't think he did, but after what he did to us... She lets her voice trail off, and I just shrug uncomfortably. I don't know, I admit. If he was her boyfriend, then I could see why she'd block it out. I just don't think he would have been around his senior year if he had murdered her, though. Remember, he got expelled when we were freshmen. I'm pretty sure they would have expelled him before that if they thought he might have killed someone. There's another possibility, Ellen ventures quietly. What if she killed herself? No, I shake my head. No, I don't know. It seems wrong to say that she doesn't seem the type to do that, but I don't get the feeling that she would. Let's leave it at that. Okay, Ellen says, but maybe whatever happened to her was so terrible she doesn't want to remember, and that's why she keeps spacing out every time she gets close. Maybe that's why the school covered up her death with a fake story about how she went home. I just shake my head. We're just running in circles. We're not going to get any answers at this rate. If we want to really find out what happened, I need to ask Hieronymous. I won't mention you or the ghost, just Musette. It's the only way we're going to find out the truth. Ellen looks uncomfortable. Do you think he'll tell you the truth? I shrug. There's no reason to let Ellen in on our marital problems. If anything, it meant that if I was coming to him with this when we were barely speaking, it was important. Only one way to find out. Instead of waiting for him to get home, I seek Hieronymous out in his office. He has the door slightly ajar, and I can see him grading papers 2 at a time. Not wanting to barge in, I quickly knock twice on the wooden door frame outside. Tori? He asks, obviously confused to be seeing me there. I had never visited him in his office before. It was so full of stacks of books and papers that it seemed impossible for him to ever find anything in the mess. I need to ask you something, I say hesitantly. I'm sorry, is this a bad time? No, Hieronymous says as he shakes his head and gestures for me to come inside. Is this about your studies? In a way, I reply. There's nowhere to sit down, and so I just stand awkwardly by the door. There's a bunch of rumors going around about a student named Musette Ellis. I think she was a student the year before I came here. Hieronymus's expression gives nothing away. What about her? I heard she died, I tell him. Here, at the school. What? Hieronymus's voice is flat as he arches an eyebrow. Don't be ridiculous. Miss Ellis was expelled for breaching the rules against enchanting electronics despite clear warnings. Her magic was taken, her memories were removed, and she was shipped back to her home in North Carolina, never to return. She is most decidedly alive. I stare at him. Oh. Messing with electronics? I could honestly see Musette doing that, but that didn't explain how she died or why her ghost had traveled from North Carolina all the way back up to Vermont. Where did you hear this? Hieronymus demands. It doesn't matter, I say as I shake my head. Maybe I just heard wrong. I just thought if there was something that the school didn't want people to know, and she had dated Damien. You know Potsdam is not above misdirection when it comes to fallen wild seeds, Hieronymous reminds me. It's convenient for her if they're all but forgotten. However, no student has died while school has been in session for the past 11 years. I am not so poor a shepherd as that. I stare him down. No, he wasn't lying to me. Hieronymous would have taken a student, especially a young, wild seed girl, dying on his watch to heart. He really didn't think that Musette was dead, which could only mean that she was still alive? But how was that possible when I saw her float away in front of me? So, Hieronymous narrows his eyes at me. Do you care to explain exactly what this has to do with your studies? I just shake my head. It was a question about white magic and spirits, but I think you answered it. He studies me for a moment before he goes back to his papers. Is there anything else you needed? No, I'm sorry to bother you, I reply before something else occurs to me. Oh, and yesterday was January 25th. So, happy late anniversary, by the way. Happy late anniversary, he echoes, his eyes giving nothing away. He seems on the verge of saying something more, but I just shoot him a sad smile as I turn to go. Hopefully we'd have a conversation soon, but that was not a conversation that we were going to have now. I had been so wrapped up in trying to solve this puzzle with Musette that I hadn't realized that I completely skipped over our anniversary. Then again, he didn't bring it up either. It was supposed to be the first anniversary that we shared together with my memories intact, but I was too distracted by thoughts of Musette. Was she alive? Dead? Somewhere in between? I didn't know, and I wasn't sure what I needed to do in order to get answers. I didn't know how to repair my relationship with Hieronymous any more than I knew how to save Musette, but I knew I could only solve one mystery at a time. Hopefully, Hieronymous would understand. If I ever told him, that is. Wait, so I'm alive? Musette asks when Elle and I see her in the gym that night. It doesn't make sense, I admit as I shake my head. You're a spirit. You're not a living human student anymore. Maybe when they came to expel me, I ran away to the dungeons and I've been secretly living there ever since, Musette suggests. No, they'd notice if you never left the school, I insist. Grabby was very sure that you were sent back to your home in North Carolina. Maybe they sent me back and I hitchhiked back to school, Musette offers. Can't, I counter. They would have taken your magic. You wouldn't have remembered where it was. Maybe they botched the memory charm, Musette offers, and I had to give her that. If you were living here in secret, though, where would you sleep? What would you eat? Ellen asks. There would have to be physical clues left behind. Maybe I came back to school in the summer and starved to death, Musette suggests. But if you came back to school, you wouldn't have your uniform anymore, Ellen says suddenly, and I point at her. But wait a minute, ours is gray. Yours is purple. Oh, I dyed it, Musette says. Potsdam said I could, as long as I left my cape alone to match my haul. At least that had an easy answer. Still, Ellen just sighs. None of this makes any sense. If you were expelled, Grabiner wasn't lying, I insist. I'm sure of it. Then she shouldn't even exist, Ellen counters. She shouldn't have her magic or her memories. Witch Musette shouldn't even exist anymore. What happens to a person's magic and their memories after they've been taken? Musette asks. Where'd they go? What? Ellen asks. Memories don't go anywhere. They're just gone. But what about the magic? Musette asks. What happens to that? I happen to know, but I wasn't about to volunteer an honest answer. It probably trickles back to the other world or something like that. Then what if it didn't go anywhere at all? Musette offers. What if I died and the memories and magic that used to be me got bundled up here? It makes sense, doesn't it? I'm just magic and memories. If I'm only part of me, it makes sense why I can't remember the rest of me. That did make sense, except for one problem. But if that's true, wouldn't there be a lot more ghosts running around? I ask. We've only met you, but there would have to be other ghosts. What if the other you is still alive somewhere? Ellen asks. What if your magic and your memories were created when you were expelled, but there's still a normal wild seed you out there? Would we be able to put you two back together, or... Whoa, I think we need to stop, I say immediately, and they both turn to look at me. We don't know anything for sure. Maybe Musette Ellis is alive, but you can't tell someone about magic if they no longer have it. It's against the rules. Still, maybe I'm not dead after all, Musette says with a wicked grin. Maybe I can live forever. Suddenly, she slips back into the darkness and out of sight. This is so confusing, Ellen says with a dramatic sigh as she slumps forward. I should be happy that no one died and the school is a safe place to be, but I still can't feel like there's something important that we don't know. Same, I agree. Right now, it's late. We should get to sleep. I'm sure we'll be able to think of something sooner or later. I am flat out exhausted when I get back that night. My late-night ghost hunting trips with Ellen left me sleeping only a few hours a night, and even though I wasn't really going to class, I still wasn't getting much sleeping done regardless. My thoughts in a fog, I close the door behind me as quietly as I can as I enter the room, stifling a yawn. I turn around and blink a few times so my eyes can get used to the darkness of the room. It's only when a shadow seems to shift in the darkness of the room that I realize a pair of red-brown eyes are staring back into mine. Whoa, I gasp as I shake my head quickly to clear it. My heart is suddenly pounding in my chest, and I hold onto the wall to steady myself. Don't do that. You scared me. What are you doing up right now anyway? Waiting for you, Hieronymous replies quietly. It hasn't escaped my notice that you've been sneaking out at night, Tori. We need to talk.